Hello, everyone, and welcome to our session. My name is Melek Somai. I'm currently the Chief Technology Officer of Inception Health and also an Assistant Professor of Medicine at the Medical College of Wisconsin. So, today I will cover our experience deploying a solution using AWS infrastructure to COVID challenge for our healthcare system, and really how we build a screening program using a digital solution to help our providers and patients. So, first, a bit about our team. Inception Health is really a team of clinicians, engineers, and healthcare professionals who are really focusing on changing the healthcare by linking the consumer needs with innovative solution and really deploying across our academic and community healthcare networks. So Inception Health is part of Freidet and the Medical College of Wisconsin. We're really trying to drive digital innovation in our healthcare system. So the challenge we all faced really early on last year was that we saw a massive change and really a huge transformation because of the pandemic. As you see, our digital health trend really been transformed and reshaped following the COVID. You see that there are majorly probably four trends. There is the first trend where digital health was really on the margin for healthcare systems. It was something that was interesting, it was something that was growing, but its scale was not really reaching any tipping point. During COVID, we see a first phase where most of our healthcare system partners and including us and others really saw a transformation that they couldn't really manage at the beginning. Digital health was not ready to do that transformation, and really, even though the traditional health services where they provided in the brick and mortar transformed, really we had challenge reshaping our services. A second and a third phase was really around where we see healthcare starting to use digital transformation and digital services to provide care. And that really was, it became probably the primary vehicle of delivering care to our patients. And we see now the future, which is really, we see that the healthcare are coming back to a normal transition of delivering care, but at the same time, we see that healthcare and digital services are going to get to this new normal. And this is really transformative. So for us, since the pandemic, we had to really increase safety for our patients, our healthcare professionals. So we needed to think about a solution following CDC guideline of how can we screen really for COVID symptoms daily? How can we show a valid clearance passport and entrance? And how can we make our system resilient to be able to be alerted in case of potential risk of COVID-19, either for each individual or probably for our community? We also needed to tie this alerting and symptom checking mechanism to a fast track COVID testing to really help our physicians and help our healthcare professionals in general really access testing in a timely manner, and really making sure that information and guidance are up to date. So it really was thinking about how can we build a new normal for our employees and making sure that they are safe getting to our healthcare system and accessing our healthcare system, and making sure that our patients are also safe. So with those challenges, we really needed to rethink how we should build a solution. So when we start thinking about what should be our architecture, we build a set of constraints and set of requirements. First, the solution had to be deployed in days. This cannot be built in months and cannot be deployed in years. It had to be deployed immediately. More importantly, it had to be scalable. We had more than 10,000 providers in our healthcare system, and they're going to use this tool daily and multiple times even during the day. We also needed to make it adaptable. It has to be adaptable to ever-changing regulation and requirement. We needed to make it easy of use and make it as a great experience. Our healthcare professionals were under stress during that period, and we needed to make sure that the experience is paramount to them. Performance and accessibility, the response time of this feature had to be in milliseconds. We really wanted to make sure that whatever we build as a technology to facilitate COVID testing and COVID screening, it had to be really easy and really accessible to everyone. We really needed also as a healthcare system to monitor and making sure that it has the foundation analytical tools to make sure that we have the right mechanism to alert and really estimate our risk and making sure adjustments are made in time. And more importantly, and last but not least, making sure that it's secure and built with privacy in by default. So with those requirements, we really started engaging with Amazon Web Services, and we designed in a matter of really few days a new architecture really based on the foundation of AWS components. So the solution we designed was a purely digital solution that was embedded into our Freighted and MCW mobile app, where we added a new service for our employees, where they can register to screening, to daily screening and daily passport, and also an immediate fast track testing. And the underlying architecture was using AWS Amplify on the mobile side. That AWS Amplify was linked using really native integration with API Gateway. An API Gateway we leverage for our identity, and this is what making security and privacy. We made it Cognito to manage the identity of our users. And that was critical for us because we didn't want to link the identity of our employees with the screening to work. So we really built an independent identity solution where privacy was designed by default using AWS Cognito. We leverage Lambda function. Our entire architecture was built as a serverless architecture. It was built based on using Lambda function and DynamoDB. And really for our analytical tool, we leverage CloudWatch to use the logs and custom logs as a foundation for building analytics dashboards. We also leverage other components ranging from SNS topics for alerting. We used also DynamoDB data stream for triggering alerts and really triggering custom events. And this foundation was purely launched in a single language in Python. So, and the most important feature of this architecture was that we leverage AWS CDK. So AWS CDK is a cloud development kit. It's a fantastic tool. It allows us to use the same code source to build the infrastructure and really also build the source code that was running our functions. So this is a very simplified example of how we built our stack. So our entire pipeline was automated using CDK pipeline. We had a fully CI/CD pipeline for continuous integration and continuous development. And as you see on the screen, we had this very simple example where we were able to write what the infrastructure would be. So in the first line, we were able to define the API gateway. And the second, we also defined our AWS Lambda functions. So for instance, we defined how the screening protocol and algorithm could be handled. We also defined our baseline DynamoDB database. So we created how we do submissions, for instance, and how we trigger AWS DynamoDB stream events for any new event to be managed. And this allows us to really build unit testing, not only to define and validate our source code for managing the algorithm, for instance, for screening, or our API calls to launch screening, COVID testing, fast track testing, but we also leverage it to test our platform. And that was critical because we needed to make it this agile, and we needed to make sure that whatever we developed was secure and robust. So we built this and used really canary release out of the box. We made sure that it's repeatable and predictable. We could basically remove the pipeline and relaunch it again in a few seconds. So we were sure that it actually allows us to be very flexible. And that was really a game changer for the way we build our architecture. And as I mentioned, we focused on user experience. By leveraging the underlying components using React Native, we really built this approach where users are welcomed into joining the experience and really using an independent AWS Cognito identity solution to embark them into this journey. So this is a very simple example. For instance, we built this customized workflow where people can submit their symptoms. We added new features as we progress and as CDC guidelines changed. For instance, we added whether COVID immunization been integrated or not, and really created this dynamic passport within our app that people can show at the entrance and really can show whenever we need and required. And more importantly, when someone or one of our members of our employees had to follow up with concerns, we built in these features where they are informed right away about what to do next. And one of the features we integrated, for instance, was enabling them to launch immediately an on-demand video visit with one of our provider to either check their symptoms or receive a clinical visits or also getting order for testing. Speaking now about analytics, this is a simple example of how we used CloudWatch custom event metrics to build real-time dashboard of about how many people within our group were sign-ups, what were the daily events, and it was really including our entire pipeline. So we were able to integrate multiple APIs, integrating the identity, the mobile app analytics into a single architecture. So all of this was done by a really small team. We developed this with really a handful of clinical informaticians and really was built within 1 week. So the results, we deployed this application in 3 weeks. Its uptime was 99.999% since we launched. We used continuous deployment of the infrastructure using CDK, and we launched this several times a week. We performed we are actually performing more than 30,000 screenings per week with a response time of 200 milliseconds per request on average. We updated the service and the technology stack more than 6 times, and we are now releasing a brand new experience where we're integrating immunization passport. And more importantly, the results have been a phenomenal outcome for our frontline care providers and patients. We were able to provide this service and really was an impetus to turbocharge our digital transformation. So we recently launched our new mobile application, and it really leverages AWS platform as a foundation. And really this experience has been a tremendous help for us to really learn and being able to understand the scale and the capabilities and how we use digital transformation for delivering healthcare services. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this session.